died on the cross for sins, he rose from the dead, and he claimed to be divine. So the people that Allah helped, the people that Allah helped become dominant are the ones who are spreading this false heresy according to Islam. Allah didn't help the followers of Jesus who believed in Islam become powerful enough to take over the Roman Empire. No. He helped the followers of Jesus who are preaching a false, corrupt version of Christianity. Those are the ones he helped. So I would ask you, instead of helping the true followers of Jesus who are Muslims, according to you, instead of helping them, why did he help the Christians who believed in Jesus' deity, death, and resurrection? Why did he help them become dominant? Why? Why would he help people who are spreading false beliefs, shirk, and heresy? Why? What is your God thinking? I want to know.
If Allah deceives people who follow his prophets, how do Muslims know that he isn't deceiving them? Your comment.
This is a very important question, because you Muslims believe in a God who deceives people, even deceives people who follow his prophets. Follow me now. According to Islam, Jesus won followers. Those followers agreed with Jesus, and they testified that there's only one God and that they are Muslims. So Jesus had Muslim followers. These Muslim followers of Jesus came to believe that he died on the cross. Where did they get the idea that he died on the cross? They got that idea from Allah, who tricked people into believing that Jesus died on the cross. So, even people who devoutly follow his prophets, even people who follow God's prophets, Allah will still trick them into believing false teachings. If you believe in a God who will trick and deceive even the people who follow his messengers, why do you believe that he's not tricking you? In other words, if you believe in a deceiver God who deceives people who follow his prophets, how do you know that he didn't send Muhammad as a false prophet who's going to deceive the Arabs? Why? I mean, think about this. You believe that Allah deceived the Jews. Why? Because he just doesn't like the Jews? Well, if you're going to say that, Allah deceived the Jews because he just doesn't like Jews, well, think about this. The Arabs, they're rejecting the gospel, they're rejecting his message. If you believe in a God who deceives people for no real reason other than he just doesn't like them, how do you know Allah didn't like the Arabs and so he sends them a false prophet to keep them deceived? Once you have a God who deceives people for no reason, I don't know how you can trust anything, even the revelations that you think are from God.
Since Allah deceived people about Jesus, and since he couldn't protect the rest of Jesus' message, what did Jesus ultimately accomplish?
Allah couldn't protect the message of Jesus. Remember that even according to Islam, Allah helped corrupt the message of Jesus by influencing people and convincing them that Jesus died on the cross. And when people like the Apostle Paul came and corrupted Islam, according to what Muslims tell me, Allah just couldn't protect that message. So the question is, what did Jesus really accomplish according to Islam? Muslims, call in and tell me, what did Jesus get done? What did he ultimately accomplish? If you're a Muslim, you have to say he didn't accomplish anything. You might say he preached for 33 years, but what did he do that lasted? He didn't do anything that lasted. The only two sorts of people who are around later in the first century are people who are rejecting him. They're guilty of rejecting one of Allah's messengers, or people who are bowing down, calling him Lord, and saying he died on the cross for their sins. They're guilty of believing in a corrupt version of what Jesus told them. But we don't have anyone later in the first century, after Allah tricked everyone into believing that Jesus died on the cross, we don't have anyone who's believing in the pure message of Jesus. So what did Jesus accomplish? No matter what Jesus did during his life, Allah immediately came in and tricked people and corrupted the message. And then the Apostle Paul came in right after that, corrupted the message even more, and there's just nothing left of Jesus' work. Jesus' followers were committing shirk and calling him Lord and saying he died on the cross for their sins, and those who rejected Jesus, they were guilty too. So what you have in Islam is, at the end of the day, you're telling me that Jesus, the Word of Allah and a Spirit from him, who was born of a virgin, who lived the most miraculous life in history, who had a miraculous end to his life because he's raised to Allah, accomplished absolutely nothing. And what you're really telling me is Jesus did nothing. So even though Muslims claim, we have this high view of Jesus, we really respect Jesus, if you follow it through, if you follow Islam's teachings about Jesus through to the logical conclusion, you dishonor and disgrace Jesus by saying that he didn't do anything that lasted. And you insult a man you claim to believe in.
David, why don't you sort of sum everything up for us, what we've been talking about today? How does all of this compare with the Christian view?
And that's the key question, because Muslims are constantly criticizing the Christian view, saying we've got problems, we're blaspheming, we're committing shirk, we've got problems, and they've got the correct view. But think about the facts that we've presented about what Islam teaches and the Islamic view that results from all of this, and compare this with the Christian view. Muslims claim that they have the true view of God, that they have the correct view. They have a very high view of God, and they respect and honor God. But they believe in a God who deceives people for no reason. Remember, there's no reason for Allah to deceive the Jews or to deceive Jesus' followers. There's no reason for Allah to do that. Nothing good came of it. Why did he do it? So Allah deceives people for no reason. Allah starts false religions. Remember, Christianity couldn't have started without belief in Jesus' death. Where did belief in Jesus' death come from? It came from Allah tricking and deceiving people. So Allah tricks and deceives people for no reason. He starts false religions. He overthrows the work of his prophet. Remember, Allah sends Jesus, gives him a virgin birth, has him speaking right after birth. He lives the most miraculous life in history. Allah raises him to himself, and then Allah destroys everything Jesus worked for, overthrows the message, and corrupts the message of Christianity, and deceives Jesus' followers, again, for no reason. And Allah is powerless to protect the message. So the Quran says that no one can corrupt Allah's words, and yet Allah reveals the Injil, and then the message is corrupted by Allah and other people like the Apostle Paul. So Allah just can't protect his message. This is the God you're proclaiming to us, a God who deceives people for no reason, who works against his own prophets, and who's so powerless, who's so weak, that he can't even protect the message that he has revealed. And what do you say about Jesus? Muslims say, we have the correct view of Jesus. We have a really high, respectful view of Jesus. But they believe that he ultimately accomplished absolutely nothing. He didn't accomplish anything that lasted. And he was horrible at choosing followers. According to Islam, the Muslim view, Jesus chose followers, and then they were totally corrupted. They were totally corrupted by Allah and the Apostle Paul. So Jesus couldn't choose followers who would actually last through everything. So Jesus didn't know how to choose followers, and he ultimately accomplished nothing. Compare this with the Christian view. Of course, the one true God is powerful enough to send his message, and if he sends a message, it's going to accomplish the purpose that he sends it for. He's not going to turn around and corrupt his own message. He's not going to allow someone else to come along and corrupt his message. God is going to protect the message, and it's going to accomplish what he sends it for. If God sends Jesus to die on the cross for sins, that's what's going to happen. No one's going to conquer or overthrow that message. The message is going to be successful. According to Christianity, God was successful. His will was done every step of the way. God sends Jesus into the world. Jesus does exactly what he's commanded to do. He fulfills it perfectly. While he's here, he chooses followers who are going to carry his message on to the end of the world. He rises from the dead. He appears to them, and they go to their deaths, passing on the message of Jesus' death, resurrection, and deity, which was what God wanted them to do. So according to Islam, God is a deceiver. He's weak. He can't protect his message. He corrupts the message of his own of people who believe in him and people who follow his prophets. According to Christianity, God is victorious every step of the way. Jesus is victorious every step of the way. Islam, at the end of the day, is an insult to God. It's blasphemy against God. It's an insult to the Lord Jesus Christ. And Christianity affirms God's power, his love. It presents God as completely victorious every step of the way, and it presents a Jesus who did exactly what he was sent to do, and whose message has been passed on to this very day.